Today, I want to get a little more personal. Hi, I'm Danny, and you can normally find me on this channel diving into TLC shows, Christian fundamentalism, and exposing family vloggers. If that sounds like something you're into, I'm excited to have you around. If you watch my videos, you know I'm a pretty open book when it comes to sharing parts of my life and the struggles I've faced. I don't believe I've had the hardest life by any means, but this past year and a half has been a lot for me. Starting off my story, I'm the second kid in a family of 4, 2 boys and 2 girls. I do think it's important to say that I'm the oldest daughter. I grew up middle class with parents who stayed together for the kids. I genuinely can't remember a time where I felt like I belonged in my family. And I remember dreaming of moving away, starting when I was maybe 10. I have not had a relationship with my family since 2022. This was an incredibly hard decision that I ultimately think has been better for me as I grow and learn. All through middle school and high school, I was super involved in a non-denominational Christian church. My beliefs have changed since then, but back then, the church was kind of my escape from home. It was one of the only places where being vulnerable wasn't seen as being weak. And even though I hated school, I was always that kid who got upset if I got anything less than an A. I've always struggled with perfectionism, and I still find way too much of my identity in how academics view me. Ultimately, I'm a very critical person, especially of myself. I moved out and started at a 4-year university in January of 2020. I thought this was going to be such a beautiful beginning. Getting involved in school, working as a substitute teacher. I really thought I was stepping into adulthood. Then, as we all know, March hit and the world turned upside down. Weirdly enough, that ended up being a blessing in disguise. It led my boyfriend, now husband, and I to make the decision to get married and enlist in the military together. I'm still in the military today, which limits how much I can say about it, but I do hope that anyone who looks down on people for joining can challenge themselves to see the bigger picture of why people join in the first place. Just to be clear, being in the military doesn't mean I personally agree with every action this country takes. My husband and I joined to access education benefits and to build a stable future. We didn't join out of blind patriotism. So many people I serve with have deeply personal reasons for joining, things like opportunity, growth, healthcare, and stability. If you think service is only about nationalism, I encourage you to listen to more of our stories. That being said, I fully believe in everyone's right to their own opinion, even if I don't agree with it. Personally, I think the anger should be directed at the system, not at the people trying to survive within it. But honestly, the world is this beautiful and complex mess because of how differently we all see things. As you may notice, I'm back in the office where I originally started making videos. I'm not going to go into every detail, but long story short, I was not expecting to still be in the military. We had hoped to temporarily stay in that smaller apartment and then eventually leave Colorado. That obviously didn't happen. Right now, I'm on a medical evaluation board to see if I'm still fit for military service. Considering the treatment I faced while deployed and the way I've been treated by some of my leadership here in Colorado, my mental health has been severely suffering for about a year and a half. I'm hopeful that this board will be complete in the coming weeks and I can move on from the pain that I've faced here. That being said, I want to pull the focus away from the military and back onto myself and my journey. To be honest, I'm not sure if putting my story out there this publicly is the best idea, but I'm also really tired of hearing people say we're working to end the mental health stigma, while I, a person with mental health struggles, still feel it. I still carry the shame. I still am the stigma. Right now, I'm diagnosed with major depressive disorder, unspecified trauma and stressor disorder, and panic disorder. I've sought help in a lot of ways. Weekly therapy sessions, attending full-time group therapy in an outpatient partial hospitalization program, taking SSRIs, and even checking myself into an inpatient facility. And while therapy and medication can be incredibly helpful, and have been, I've also learned something else. My mental health cannot truly improve in unhealthy environments. Therapy is great, but if you're using coping skills 24/7 just to survive your day-to-day life, that's not really living. We've all heard people say that life is too short to be doing anything but the things you love. But sometimes that is not realistic. Sometimes we cannot afford the education to get the career we want. Sometimes we can't afford our living costs, let alone travel the world. Sometimes we sign contracts that do not allow us to leave a job that absolutely destroys our mental health. Sometimes we just get stuck in survival mode. We're living in some wild times. Many of us, myself included, haven't really processed everything we went through with COVID. Moving into adulthood during that time completely changed the trajectory of my life. Then, on top of that, we're all watching major political shifts in the US, ongoing wars destroying innocent lives, and the internet pulling people apart as much as it brings them together. It's exhausting. Even doing things I usually enjoy doesn't feel the same anymore. And that's why I want to talk about something called comparative suffering. You know that feeling? Like, I can't be upset that I didn't get this promotion when people are sick and dying right now. Have you ever said something like that to yourself or heard someone else say it? I do it all the time without even realizing. But I've noticed that when we start ranking our pain, all we're doing is denying ourselves the right to feel. I want to play you something that Brené Brown said in her podcast, Unlocking Us, because it stuck with me.
Emotions do not go away because we send them a message that, hey, message incoming. These feelings are inappropriate and do not score high enough on the suffering board. Please delete all feelings related to this. You are not in pain enough. Thank you. That's not the way this works. The emotions that you're feeling, that we feel, when we deny them, double down, they burrow, they fester, they metastasize. And not only do our feelings double down and grow, they invite shame over for the party. Because now we're like, I am a bad person because I'm sad or scared or lonely or frustrated or disappointed or pissed off. And other people have it so much worse than me.
She also said something I repeat to myself regularly. Empathy is not finite.
When we practice empathy with ourselves and others, we create more empathy. Love, y'all, is the last thing we need to ration in this world.
Don't you just love that? So yeah, practice empathy with others and with yourself. And I want to be clear here. There's a difference between humility and acknowledging your blessings versus denying yourself empathy and love just because someone else has it worse. Think of a child who's devastated. They can't have their favorite snack. Sure, it might seem small to us, but instead of shaming them, we could just help them feel what they're feeling and work through it. That approach, we need more of it for ourselves too. I don't really know why I made this video. Maybe I just needed to say it out loud. But if there's one thing I want to leave you with, it's this. Life is hard enough. If you're struggling, you are not alone. Your feelings are valid. Your pain is real, even if someone else has it worse. That doesn't make what you're going through any less important. Maybe you need some help learning how to process your emotions or when to express them, and that's okay. But that doesn't mean your feelings don't matter. If you're in a crisis or having thoughts of suicide, please don't keep it to yourself. The 988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline is available 24/7. You can call or text 988 to talk to someone who's trained to help. You matter. Your life matters. And beyond crisis, please remember to rest. Rest is not lazy. Rest is not weak. It's necessary. You don't have to earn rest by reaching a breaking point. You are allowed to take breaks simply because you're human. You are allowed to feel proud of yourself for surviving, even if that's all you've managed to do today. I think I'm mostly saying this to myself right now, but you probably need to hear it too. I'm learning to love myself where I'm at. Not where I wish I were, not where I used to be, but here. And I hope you can try to do the same. Let's all try to show ourselves and each other just a little more empathy, because that's how we create more of it in the world. I really want to keep making more videos. I have so many ideas and so much I want to share, but I'm also learning to give myself space to rest and recover when I need it. So if uploads are a little slow, I promise I'm still here. I'm just taking care of myself. If this video resonated with you, it would mean a lot if you gave it a like and subscribe below. Thank you so much for watching and for being part of this space where we could be honest, imperfect, and still worthy of love. If you feel comfortable, I'd love for the comment section to be a space where we can be real with each other. Share something you've been carrying, a moment you felt seen, or just how you're doing today. No pressure. Just know this space is here, and so are people who care. Let's keep it kind, respectful, and safe.